Oh, yeah, Oh, I'm already on.
I just hit it.
Oh, we're already live. We're good.
Okay.
Okay.
So we've been live this whole
We've been
time?
live this whole time?
No,
Oh.
I just hit it. All right.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Just Face It on location. Hey, with Staffy B, you never know where I'll be, right? Well, I am super duper excited to be right here in the neighborhood, originally the hood. But this place, this block has been totally transformed, all but about one or two houses, and they're in the process now. We have a wonderful, wonderful pastor here who has just had a heart for his people, a heart for his congregation, a heart for the neighborhood in which his church is centered in. And we're right here on Puritan, and Monica, and Stouffville, that area, just about a block off Livernois. And what was infested with drug houses and houses of blight and just did not look well. My goodness, my goodness. This awesome pastor, my God, saw the vision and God gave him the ways and means and the how to, and he's here to share with us. Please help me welcome to the show none other than Apostle.
Thank you.
Hallelujah. Eric Wilkerson. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sam.
Welcome to the show. And he is pastor of Up From the World Ministries, which is a very vibrant church. And you've been in now, how long?
Pastor?
Yeah.
19 years.
19. It's been,
19.
oh my
20
goodness.
years.
Wow. I remember when he started. He was a member of our church for a while there. And I'm telling you, he has just taken the place. Let's talk about what's happening here. Still in the middle of a pandemic, he is yet working and yet changing. Light to light is what I call it. Let's talk about your vision for this neighborhood.
Well, when we purchased the church, we were riding through here every day, just coming to church, and we noticed that these houses were available. As a matter of fact, this is actually the first house we purchased. While we were working on this particular house, I noticed that all of the rest of them on the block were vacant, and we're talking like 24 houses. So what we did was we raised the money and we purchased all the homes first. And then once we purchased them, I pitched it to my congregation. And on the level of we can either complain about what's going on over here or do something about what's going on. And I said we'll put these houses back together, but I need you guys to move over here once we do it. What we did was we made the rent $500 as an incentive because nobody was dying to get over here.
Absolutely. $500 a month to live.
$500 a month to live. And so we have people come back from Roseville and East Point and Hamtramck, Oak Park, Southfield. They move back into the neighborhood and really like cut their rent in half, which means that your family gets to keep that extra $500 to $600 that you were paying in the suburb. And my promise to them was that we're going to complete these whole 2 blocks. You're going to know the people on the right of you, left, in front of you, and behind you. We renovated the houses from top to bottom. And so we kept our end of the bargain, they keep their end of the bargain, and we want to keep the houses up. And as a result of that, you get rid of all the riffraff that was present when we first were driving through.
Now talk about what you saw, what you actually saw. I know you say you saw a bunch of, Barbara, if you could just pan to that house behind us there as we talk about it. I know you saw a bunch of houses that look like that.
Yeah.
And were they?
Well, see, that to me, that's a solid structure, and that's all you really need to work with is the structure. And the city was selling the houses for $500.
What?
So we weren't paying thousands of dollars for these structures. We paid $500 for these houses, and then you put about $20,000 to $25,000 in each house, and you got yourself a nice piece of real estate. And so you'll never have an opportunity to. That won't happen again in our lifetime.
Absolutely.
We get our house for $500.
Right. So was it just your timing? Is this still something that's available? I know we're going through our new normal, but
well, since then they've established the Detroit Land Bank Authority, so it's a little different now. Houses are more than they were. I think they're starting at about $1,500 now, so you can kind of still get in, but the pickings aren't as great as they were before because we've got a lot of investors coming in from all over the world. about this. And then what are the chances of you getting 24 houses on the same block?
Wow.
What are the chances? And that's the thing that makes it a worthwhile venture, because you get all the houses on the same block, and on the next block we probably got about 25 houses. So we just all the land unspoken, and we have all the houses on some place.
Now you're making this like a subdivision community kind of thing.
Right, that's exactly what it is.
Wow. So talk about now. Most of the people in these houses are your members.
As a matter of fact, all of us. Now there were a few people that already lived here. They've since joined the church. So on Sunday morning, almost this entire block, with the exception of maybe one family that lives on the block, everybody else on this block goes to our church.
This is like something from the 50s, 60s, where everybody gets up Sunday morning and walks.
That's exactly what we do in the summertime.
And walks to church.
Right.
That is absolutely amazing. What can you share with other pastors? What are we doing wrong? What are other pastors doing wrong?
Well, I'm not going to say that they're doing something wrong, but I think that we need to reevaluate how we allocate resources that we raise in the church, because nobody's going to come down here and save us. They're not coming. If they come in and renovate these houses, it'll be for their own benefit. So you have houses like this around your block. Instead of taking your tithe and offering to the bank on Sunday morning, on Monday morning, that you raised on Sunday morning, we brought them to the block.
Wow.
So instead of putting them in the bank and allowing the bank to lend money to people to purchase homes and renovate homes, we just cut the middleman out. I learned that a long time ago. Cut the middleman out and bring the money to the block that you raised and invest it in the house. So instead of having $25,000 in the bank, we got $25,000 in this house. And the interesting thing about that is that on that $25,000, you get a $500 return every year. Actually, you get the APR on it is $6,000 every year. So if you put $25,000 in the bank, you won't get $6,000 off of that.
Exactly.
You'll probably get, it's not even a percent that you're going to get off of it. So really the investment is in the property, and then it yields over time.
Now, how did you figure this out? Are you finance major?
No, I'm not a finance major. I'm just,
Just like money?
It's just dollars and cents.
Okay.
It's dollars and cents.
Okay.
Anybody ever succeeded really in this country is through real estate.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just dollars and cents. If the houses are $500, this is what we need to be doing right now, purchasing homes.
So how does a member qualify, if that's a great word to use, qualify to get one of these homes? How
Well,
does that happen?
everybody in every one of these houses is somebody that serves in ministry. So they're either a deacon, an usher, a greeter, on the Ministry of Defense, a mother in the church. So that's our give back to them. So in every house is somebody that serves in some auxiliary in ministry. So we cut their rent to $500 as a give back. We thank you for rendering your service. Where ministry is concerned. And then when you pastor people, you get to know them. So I don't have to do a credit check. I know them.
Oh my, this is absolutely wonderful. So what is the camaraderie of the neighborhood?
Fantastic. It's unbelievable.
Wow.
It's unbelievable. In terms of us checking on the elderly, that's Mother Newkirk down there sitting on that porch of that green house down there.
Okay.
So in a time like this, when you have your mothers in the community, you can go by, check on them, make sure that they're okay, they get to their doctor's appointments or wherever it is that they need to go. So it's a real community. It's a real community where you know your neighbor.
Absolutely. And that's what it's supposed to. That's what it's supposed to be. So tell us. You talk about Mother, and everybody here is part of your ministry team. What happens to a person like me that wants to join and I'm not a part of the team? I don't qualify, or too bad?
What do you mean? What happens to you?
I mean, and
you want to move in a home?
I want to move.
We actually don't have any.
Okay.
And then everybody's moved in. We've had nobody to move out.
Okay.
So
these are new houses.
from top to bottom, absolutely.
Because you've done everything.
New roof, new windows, new siding, new porch, new rails, new doors, new everything.
Wow.
New bathroom, new kitchen on the inside.
Wow.
Renovated.
So now when you walk into a house or you see a house like this, because for me I'd be like, oh no, no, sir. But what do you see
Well, when I go into a home, I go straight to the basement to see if the foundation is good.
Okay.
And if the foundation is good, we can work with the rest of it.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, if the basement's not leaking and foundation cracked, then the rest of it is just cosmetics. Put it back together and put a tenant in.
Wow. Now we saw you on TV. Everybody that know you was super duper proud of you with the mayor of Detroit. What have you taught the mayor of Detroit that he's trying to teach others?
Well, that the church has a responsibility in its own community to do something in its community besides meet and greet. I think that we have a responsibility to get out in the community and make that community better. And if all of us adopt that same school of thought, then the neighborhoods will be better.
Mm-hmm. Now you're a touchable pastor, with the exception of that defense team. You ain't get that close. But you're a touchable pastor, and everybody in this block knows their pastor. How important is that for churches?
Well, it's just family.
Mm-hmm.
It's family. I think it's important to be able to get in contact and in touch with your pastor, and you know, I don't really minimize that because I know the pastors are very busy people.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know, you always got something going on. But I'm here every day if anybody needs to get in touch.
Wow.
With me. I'm out here every
So
day.
this is what I want you all to know. In case you're just tuning in, I'm talking to Apostle Eric Wilkerson, who is 19 years of service right here in the neighborhood, right here. We're right here on Puritan, and this is Santa Rosa that we're standing on. And he literally puts his hand to the plow. You're doing the work.
There's kitchens, bathrooms, windows, that kind of stuff. And then I've got other guys in my church that do stuff like the plumbing. The roofing's outsourced, but I use the same guy. The siding is outsourced, but I use the same guy. I've got carpenters, electricians. All of those guys are actually in the church.
Wow.
And to get them to do it, we have to pay them to do it.
Okay.
So that way you ensure you get your work done and nobody feels like anybody's being slighted.
Yeah.
So people ask me often, you know, how'd you get them to do the work? You have to pay them.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, give them some money.
Desire.
Give them some money. They'll do it.
Now, what contribution does the member make towards the building? You just do it all until you can move on.
I do it all, and once we finish, we actually, I get a deposit, which is going to be $1,000.
Okay.
First month, then a $500 deposit. And then your name goes on the list, and then the church renovates the whole house. And then you just move in, we put you on a lease, and you pay your rent.
Now, are these will they always be rent to own? Will will the members be able to purchase?
No, and the reason I don't want to sell them is because we need to keep control of what's going on in this community. So
Okay.
when you sell them, you run the risk of the community and the houses going back to the way that they were. So I really, at this time, have no intentions of selling.
Wow. Now, let me ask. Now, I'm just going to switch just a little bit, considering what's happening with this pandemic and the Black Lives Matter and things of that nature. Where should the church be heading once we kind of return to whatever our normals are? What should we be looking to do for our communities and for our neighborhoods?
Well, for me, it's more of this kind of thing. But I'm kind of moving around the country now, and I just want to do it in some other areas. And I'd be very interested in just sharing this information with other churches, because we're not a mega church. So the beautiful thing about that is that it shows that it's doable, and you don't have to have a whole lot of members to get it done. You just have to have a vision and get out here and make it happen.
Now, I've been doing a series called After the Protest in What is your take on that?
Protesting about the Black Lives
About
Matter
the Black
movement.
Lives, yeah.
We're gonna need to teach our people that if it's gonna happen, we're gonna have to make it happen.
And not to hear it.
Nobody's. If somebody was coming to save us, we'd be saved.
Yeah.
They're not coming. So until we make up in our minds to get together, and I think the church has a big responsibility in that, because that's always been our source of strength.
Absolutely.
Get together, put together a plan, and do what we're gonna do in our own community.
Wow, absolutely. Now you fenced this place off, but Bowen, I don't know if you could get a take of that fence over there. You've fenced this place off. I mean, do we plan on cutting it all off where folks can't get in and out, or
No, but what we're
what's
gonna
the
do?
plan?
We're going to, since we got this whole block and the second whole block, we fenced it all in to keep people from coming through the alleys and cutting through your backyard. and that kind of thing. We're gonna put some speed humps in here to stop people from speeding up and down the street. So for the most part, what you have coming on this block is people who live on this block.
Okay.
And if somebody other than that comes on it, you know who it is because you know everybody.
Now, has there been any opposition? Has there been or let me ask this: once the person gets the house, do they have full control over decorating on the inside, because with the wall, that kind of thing? Still run a property?
Yeah, you still rent the property. You can go in and do what you're going to do in terms of putting your stuff in there, but not painting and all that.
You can't hear us?
Louder.
Oh, okay. People say they can't hear.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're not allowing people to change color.
And things of that nature. Because you still want the house to look like you structured it. So, to pastors that's out there looking and that want to know, tell us a little bit about your church.
Up from the World Ministries, non-denominational. Try to stick with the Bible.
Okay. I'm gonna take him.
Get that same answer from everybody.
Yeah. I'm gonna take him someplace because I love talking to him about this controversial. It's not really controversial, but because believe it or not, I've adopted it myself. Once I've learned, it's kind of when you learn better, you do better. And I just want to throw this out. It's totally off the subject, but you talk about the holidays.
Yeah.
And not celebrating them for the most part.
Absolutely.
So we're talking Christmas, we're talking the Easter, we're talking all of those things.
We're talking Christmas, we're talking Easter, we're talking watch night.
Watch night?
Yeah, we don't do any of that.
Okay. Now why not watch night?
Well, because the new year, biblically speaking, is in the spring, from mid-March to mid-April. And you can tell it's the new year because nature's signs declare God's time. It's in the spring that your grass goes from brown to green, flowers begin to bloom, trees begin to bud, birds begin to sing. That's the new year. That's when the season starts.
Okay.
That's when the new year starts. It's the month. The book of Exodus tells us it's the month Abib.
Okay.
So, I'm just trying to stick with the word of God. People say it don't make a difference, but it does make a difference because if it didn't, it wouldn't change it.
And why not Christmas?
I don't do Christmas because Jesus is Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. He didn't come from Mary, he came through Mary.
Okay.
Right, to the earth. He is Alpha and Omega. You can't get a birthday out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we don't do that, and I don't do the white Jesus and the blonde hair and the blue eyes. None of, I don't fool with any of that.
So with this black thing that's going on, the Black Lives Matter movement, and somebody wanted you to paint Jesus, what would you do? What would you paint? Or would you be able to?
Well, I painted according to the description we have of him in the book of Revelation.
Okay.
Complexion like bronze, polished brass.
Yeah.
Hair like lamb's wool.
Mm-hmm.
If you're gonna paint him, but he definitely wouldn't have blonde hair and blue eyes with a white face underneath neatly cropped beard. He definitely wouldn't have that.
That wouldn't be on your wall.
Not at Up from the World Ministries. He would not have that.
What about shoes?
Right. You
wouldn't do that.
And Easter, I recently saw your last post around Easter. You had a little bunny on your desk.
And I let the bunny have it. I gave the bunny the business. Yes.
The poor bunny got the business.
Well, we don't do Easter because you can't get if Jesus died on a Friday and raised Sunday morning, you can't get 3 days and 3 nights. It's a mathematical impossibility to get that. He did die, he was buried, and God did raise him from the dead, but he was in the ground 3 days and 3 nights. Easter is actually the worshiping of a fertility god. That's why you have the egg and the rabbit and all these fertility symbols. Those are fertility symbols. And what we've done is we've mixed the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ with a celebration called Easter. And we mixed it all up together, and we've got people celebrating. And what's happening is that people aren't being blessed on the level that they should be blessed on. They're getting missed instead of rain because the traditions of men causes the word not to work like the word is supposed to work. So I leave all that.
So the paganism of it is.
And not just even from a paganistic perspective, just from a biblical perspective in terms of doing what he told us to do in remembrance of him, which was communion. This do in remembrance of me. Not these things, not this, that, and the other, not all this other stuff. It's real simple. Follow a biblical instruction, get a biblical result.
And how much backlash have you gotten? I know you don't care about that, but just for the sake of the show, from people that
Well-
tell. And what about your community?
Well, the community is receptive of it.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
We're receptive. My church is receptive because it's a part of my new members curriculum. So when you join the church, I'm telling you right up front, this is what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
This is what Up From the World Ministry is doing. So maybe you want to rethink where you've made your membership.
So would you have a problem if I put up a light and a tree?
No,
and
you can't do that.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't do that.
And because it's part of our agreement.
This is actually our church.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So when you're talking mega ministry, we're not talking about a big building. We're talking about a whole big community.
Wow.
So this is actually the church.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
I think
Because
that,
when you're talking kingdom, you're talking about taking over territory.
yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So he's definitely following the principles of God and what they say. I brought that stuff up so you wouldn't think he's just a pastor that's finding broken houses. I want you to know that he is definitely a word man, and you've got to come. Tell us about your church and how can we, when things get back up and running.
Well, what we're doing now, we're just doing this social media thing, which was new for us. We started at the beginning of the year, which actually worked right in because we were already up and running with that when the pandemic hit. And so what we're doing now is in April we're going to start having services outside for the month of April, and then in September we're going to see if we can transition back into the sanctuary.
Okay.
See how that goes.
April?
No, I meant August.
Oh, okay.
In
Okay.
August we're going to be under the tent.
Okay.
Outside, and then in September we're going to transition back into the sanctuary if things are kind of calmed down.
Now, do you think we'll ever get back to what we knew as normal?
No, absolutely not. When you consider everything that has happened, the tragic loss of life, and this whole thing being out of control, no, everything's going to be different.
It's going to be different.
Most
It's
definitely.
going to be different.
Most
So, are you creating a curriculum, perhaps, for pastors that might not know which direction to go in terms of setting up the new? Have you thought about that?
Well, no, I'm hoping. What I'm really hoping, Stafford, is that we can go back into the sanctuary because for me, there's nothing like it. But one of the things I'm not going to do, like my Bible study, I'll never do it in the building again.
Really?
No. My Bible study will always be on social media from this day forward, just to eliminate a lot of traveling and a lot of gathering.
So a lot has come out of this.
And that kind of thing. So we're gonna keep Bible study on Wednesdays. We're gonna keep that online, and I'm gonna see what the church wants to do if, in fact, they want to meet every Sunday or not, because this has shown me that it's really not necessary for us to gather every Sunday. It's not necessary.
Now let me ask you, because I'm just talking to you now. What about the power of touch? I know we can't hold hands and hug, purr, whatever that they say, but there is something magnetic in touch. What do you say about that?
Oh, well, I agree with you. I agree with you, and I think it's important that we are able to physically get together in a physical structure. But I don't know if we're required to do that every Sunday or not.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm definitely not against. I don't want to do social media only. I don't like the how not personal and personable that whole thing is. But we can substitute some services through social media.
What have you seen different in the world? It's happily obvious that you will have to address once your members start coming back around.
Well, what I've noticed is that people don't have as much faith as they say they have. And that's what the pandemic has revealed. And when we get back, that's one of the first things that I'm going to touch on and deal with, because I do not believe for a moment. Either one or two things happen. God allowed this to happen, or he did. That's the only way to transpire. And either way, he always makes provisions for his people. And if we can find the provision in that word by faith, we walk in the provision he made in his word. And we don't have to be fearful about this thing coming. When God flooded the earth in Noah's day, he prepared an ark. Right? And if you were in that place, that destruction couldn't touch you. It's the same way now. We just need to understand right covenant relationship with God. We're doing a lot of praying. And when I say we, I'm talking about the body of Christ. But that's really not the answer to a situation like this. The answer to a situation like this is to turn from your wicked ways. See, we're dealing with a plague like you deal with a sickness and you deal with a disease. And if you study the Word of God, how you deal with a sickness is different than how you deal with a disease, and how you deal with a disease is different than how you deal with a plague. The instruction